Hey everyone, happy Friday. It's Feel Good Friday. We're here with our boys Tyler, EmoCowboy, and Chris Spags. We're gonna do a little drafting. We're just gonna, vamp about some rookies. So hop in, give us a like, and let's get going. GM. Yes, we got the content. It's rolling on Fridays. Spags, we were talking pre-stream. You're rolling out the content today. How you doing? How you holding up with the 5 streams a week and everything else going on?
I'm feeling good. I actually really enjoyed that intro. I was talking to Bindles at one point about how I don't do an intro because I think it's important that you try to capture people right away for YouTube for the people kind of browsing by. But I think the way you did it today makes sense where it's like you do your intro. If they want to skip the actual musical intro, then they can just press the button a couple times. But that song is kind of a bop. So I think that's where my head is at. That I was like, I don't know if you guys saw me. I was just kind of nodding along. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I'm a big I think it's called vaporwave music. During work, I'm super ADHD if you can't already tell. So I just drink a shit ton of coffee. I put on some vaporwave, and then I just try to get in the flow state. And that's so yeah, I got that going because I feel like it's my vibe. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Tyler, how's it going, sir? How's your Friday? It's been a little bit since we were on a stream, a couple weeks, but it's always a good time with you. So what's up with you?
Too much, man. Just Bourbon Trail bachelor party, ripping PRs at the gym, walking, drafting, getting a tan, getting fucking sunburned. Just living life, trying to have some fun.
How's the weather in Houston right now?
Dude, gorgeous day. Feels like SoCal. It's awesome, which means it's gonna suck tomorrow.
Yeah, honestly, there's been no winter. It's been crazy. I don't know, Spags, I don't know where you're at if you want to dox yourself, but yeah, I'm in the north, so it's been so nice. We've only gotten snow a few times, so I feel like it's summer's already starting, even though it's not even March yet. So it's been
I'm outside of Philly, and this is I think our 3rd winter back here, and we have more snow this year than anything else. To the point where actually had some. We have to have our stucco redone in the house, which is it's one of those house things that I just absolutely despise. Something that's rented for my entire life besides the last few years. But we've had so much snow outside of Philly, and I hate it. I just I want to be back in LA so bad, but the cost of this house here in LA is just an ungodly difference. I would love to move to Texas, but we don't know anybody there, unfortunately. Besides, I was
gonna say I want to move to Texas too. I've been really trying to.
It feels like half the ship chasing communities around Dallas, which sucks because Dallas sucks. But they're in the border.
So you guys have been drafting a lot. So I just want to know before we get into it. So Spags, I know you've been taking Marvin Harrison a lot. For me, that just, I don't know. I get that it's not like the BBM where we have the whole 4 or 5 months where we're drafting. So as the price will go up and down. So how are you feeling about what's your favorite pick in the first few rounds? And kind of what's your least favorite, someone that you think is going way too high based on the whatever information is out there right now? Or
I kind of like all the price tags in the first round. For the most part, I think the second round is where things fall apart a little bit. Where Nico Collins, to me, I take him because I do believe that if you want to get exposure to guys, you just kind of take them where they are and you just do it a little bit less so, or, whatever the case. But I think for me, Nico's a little bit overpriced because I really do think they're going to bring in somebody there. I've talked about on Splash Play, the Mike Evans rumors a lot. I think that's one that does make a lot of sense to me because it would take pressure off of Nico. Nico would be more efficient when you bring that upper echelon talent across from him, but he would be not as valuable as he is. So I think the first round is all good. I'm actually happy getting a lot of guys there. But I what you're saying about MHJ, I think he's a fun pick. I agree that his price tag is probably a little bit wrong, but I just like to believe in the positive outcomes. And I think he's, a once every 10 years kind of prospect. So I want to be on the side of that, even if, his results are going to be maybe spotty compared to a DJ Moore game to game.
on Marv, we got a crack bomb from old Crack Rock last night, I think it was, and if his schmoozing with the owner's alpha is to be believed, QBs are going 1, 2, 3, and New England's probably taking a quarterback, which isn't that shocking considering their quarterback room and the quarterbacks available. So the real concern with Marv was that he goes to New England or like New York or whatever. But if he's going to Arizona, you got to feel really good about that. So,
yeah, I feel like there might be I saw some steam about the Giants moving up for a quarterback, someone else moving up for a quarterback. So I don't know. I mean, I think we're still so far out, but
the Giants one doesn't make a whole lot of sense given that Dime's contract was kind of like a 2-year with a third year. So I feel like to move up that much in assets and also pay that much this year and then, take a cut hit next year doesn't really make sense from a team building perspective. So they're probably going to do like the Fields thing where they go into it with the same quarterback this year and, develop who they can develop and, just hopefully retool for the next guy or clean house for the next guy. And that would make sense.
Yeah, I was watching actually the Underdog mock draft right before this because I chatted on in the background, and Hayden actually did 2 of the moves that I've liked a lot and talked about a lot too that I would think would be great. Had actually the Falcons trading to the 3 spot, taking Jaden Daniels, and then also I think it was the Vikings trading up to the 5 spot with the Chargers and taking JJ McCarthy, which I think those moves make sense for both teams. I think JJ McCarthy's the one in musical chairs where it's like, okay, but he's still a pretty good prospect. He's a clear number 4 to me. But I think that'd be a win, and that gets all your QBs off the board. Bo Nix can go somewhere in the first round, probably in the 20s would be my guess. And that would be probably pretty appropriate prices for everybody.
Yeah. I think Atlanta and Minnesota, I mean, those are both teams, especially Minnesota. The last 2 years, Minnesota's been making moves to try to grab a quarterback in the first round. So, yeah, both of those teams feel like, get a rookie in there, go make it happen. And obviously, if they re-sign Kirk to a 2-year deal with the 3-year out, that makes sense. But they also feel like a team that could just lock it down and punt quarterback again. Atlanta makes the most sense. You got to feel like they're going to make a move for a vet or like a worthwhile vet or a rookie. They don't really feel like a team to do like bridge vet plus rookie, just because like with the owner and the new team and shit. So it'll be they're the most interesting team with like quarterback implications because like is it going to be as bad as a bridge quarterback guy or is it going to be like an exciting rookie but weak floor? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about Atlanta. Just I feel like anything other than Arthur Smith will be exciting. So yeah, I'm super into Drake London right now. I think I always kind of have been, but definitely the optimism around him is feeling good right now. So you guys want to hop into a draft and get going?
Yeah.
We got 3 more spots, so jump on in, folk.
Perfect.
I dare you to snipe me, bitches. I know where you live.
Yeah, we're actually gonna have we actually have enough people in the chat today where we're gonna have to actually protect our picks a little bit. I was gonna say the first Spags, you were talking about the first round. Like, it doesn't feel like there's really any bad picks in the first round right now. But I do agree that second round, just I don't know, man. I don't know what to do there. It's like I feel like I like some HN there. I like some JT there. The wide receivers, it's the same thing. Like I want to take them just to get some exposure, but it doesn't feel cozy taking those receivers there. I just feel like there's a lot of variance that could happen with those guys, and I almost feel better about some of like the Diggs and the Adams and the guys in that third round range a little bit better from like a median standpoint. But I think the spike weeks obviously change things up. So.
Yeah, the second round is tough, I think, for just guys don't feel appropriately priced, even though there's one guy yesterday on the Splash Play comments who left me like a full like essay length post about Deebo Samuel, why he's appropriately priced because he's only like a couple points per game behind Ayuk and a couple other guys in the range and whatever. And then he was like using full point PPR stats. He was like very into Deebo in a way where I feel like people are not very often into Deebo. But I think there's a case to be made for Deebo. I still think he's priced at his ceiling though, and it doesn't make sense to me how he had the year he had, and he's come up, 12 spots from where he was last year. that could be just the overall wide receiver premium and the good team tax that I think you're getting even more pronouncedly because we're just coming off the Super Bowl. So I don't know. The second round, I think there's a lot of guys who critique the first round. Everybody gets hurt, you're screwed. But I really don't hate any pick at all you get in the first round. It's just kind of a choose your adventure from there.
Yeah, I like it. But yeah, Tyler, what's going on?
Just three things at the top. That was definitely Davis Maddox burner. Did you respond, sir? This is a Wendy's. And third, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it, like last year taught us, the whole second round sucked. It was just who was the least worst pick. With the third and fourth round not being too much different, but those being like the more appropriately fertile grounds. So I just wouldn't be surprised if, much like last year, the second round's kind of, I mean, if it feels weird, it probably is weird. Like there's probably no one truly deserving of it, and everybody's got their shit. So maybe this, and I've kind of been approaching it like this at minimum, is the second and third round right now is very much like a choose your own adventure. ADP is a construct. Go get your guys, live a little shit. And then after that, things make sense, and there's less glaring, for me, there's less glaring issues. So I just wouldn't be surprised if that's it. It's just without more information and more confidence from the market, or overconfidence in the market, or more FUD in the market. Second round's kind of like a weird transition where it's like, get who you want with your combos. Cause it's like, I don't think it's going to be a wrong answer. In my opinion yet.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah, there's no wrong answer at this point. I think it'll be different. Yeah. For the big tournament, in BBM, I think
I take that back. There is one wrong, and that's Saquon. There's like the one guy where it's like that doesn't make sense. And even
you'd have to pay me to take Saquon at his current ADP.
Even Pacheco and Rashad White have kind of like already adjusted down, and James Cook is adjusted down. So it's like the Saquon stuff feels like people drafting right now. It's simply anchored to he gets the workload.
Yeah,
that said, do we want the falling Gibbs, or do we want to keep the zero RB themes going?
I mean, well, we were talking a little bit before the show in the YouTube comments. We could do some RB appreciation here and just take Jahmyr Gibbs and Kyron, or
I like appreciation. I don't know if I want to double tap though.
Well, then we could be done at RB for a while. But yeah, whatever you guys want to take.
I've done the last three drafts is Jahmyr and wait a while. What do you? But Achan's fun.
I like Achan or Kyron. I feel like, or Garrett Wilson, I'm fine with if we don't want to just go super testosterone heavy in the early rounds.
We choose our adventure.
These are young, sexy RBs. So I think if you're going to do it, you're doing it with
young and sexy.
Yeah,
let's go.
This is it. Supple, some could say.
Hell yeah, brother. We're taking 2 RBs in the first and second round. We got lots of testosterone going here with all the sexy fellas here in the chat and in the stream. So hope you love it.
The soul.
I don't have a sunglass. I only have I have New Year's Eve style props.
Nice. I love. I mean, when you're talking about best ball, single week upside, these guys have it in spades with pass catching, with long runs. They're both going to be part of high scoring offenses. They can both overcome the quarterbacks. We've seen that plenty. They both benefit from the running back ahead of them going down massively, and even without. So as far as like floor and ceiling, I have a hard time not doing these two because they're also second-year running backs. And everybody talks about second-year receivers, but I mean, second-year players in general can take a big bump. And neither one of them is going to see added competition. Like neither one of these teams can afford to put any more resources into the running back position. So I'm a big fan.
Yeah, if I'm going to be clicking running backs, like these guys have crazy single game upside.
Also, we learned last year that stacking of any kind is good and unique. And so quarterbacks with their running backs, especially pass catching running backs. So, and we've got 2 mid-level quarterbacks that stack really nicely. It's a fun build for me. And neither guy gets sniped very often. Nobody really wants naked Goff, naked Tua. They love naked Stroud. They love naked Stafford. God knows why.
Actually, on Neil's stream, I think we got sniped on Goff naked for no particular. We had Laporta and Amon-Ra, and somebody took Goff, and that was
all right. Well, you've been warned. If you snipe Goff, I will find you. I will take your phone away, and I will ban you from Underdog. I will do it. I'm sorry.
See, also, we had a little debate about this because Bindles is in somewhere where he can't draft right now. This is why I'm extra glad we didn't draft on my account, because I couldn't have done this on my account. I couldn't have this under my name when people search BBMDB next year. But here, or Big Board DB, it'll be. That's another spinoff. But like, this is perfect on Tyler's account. This is a fun start. This is fun.
It's fun.
That's what a two running backs can be.
It's zero RB Friday, Spags. So you literally can't do it on your account. That would be blasphemy. And
they would ban me. It's part of the contract for the marketing agreement or whatever.
You get a strike on his record.
And Tyler's in Texas, so the two RBs, it's going along with the high testosterone theme. So I like it.
My wife would tell you my testosterone is too high. What can you do?
Nice. So let's see. Anything else going on here in this range? Yeah, Saquon is just so gross in this range. I don't.
I mean, like, this makes more sense though, right? Like, if you're taking him here, you're telling yourself, he's going to get a shit ton of volume. Hopefully, the offense is better, or he just gets a better offense. I get it, I guess, but the opportunity cost in the second or third round around guys, I think that's where it's tough.
Yeah, I guess you're just betting on he gets a good landing spot. So, I mean, I guess I understand it from that perspective.
I mean, I think if you're doing it, you got to do it where he's like, I like an anchor, kind of how you were doing like Aaron Jones the last couple of years, at least how I was doing it, where it's like, if I'm taking him as a volume-based bet, I'm betting he gets there on volume. I'm betting he gets there on efficiency, and he's my anchor. I'm not like tripling up if it were me.
Talk about young, sexy wide receivers. We got the guy in the 8-hole going, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Neighbors, which Spags, you got those two earlier today, but a round later for both. So
yeah, I'm very happy about that. The way that it worked out for me. I can't believe that Harrison went in the first round. I actually missed that. His room is a little bit nuts, but yeah, the Harrison Neighbors combo is very fun when you're not taking it that early.
So I assume we're double tapping receiver, yes?
Yeah, I would think that's the move.
Which combos of two do we like?
I'll take the two old LA guys. I think that's reasonable.
Two olds.
You're making a bet here that they're undervalued because they're not going to be able to keep it going. It's not a bad probability bet that they can keep it going.
I like the two old guys, honestly.
All right.
The T being locked into getting franchise tag now, I just feel like he could still force his way out of that, I guess. But I don't think he's gonna. I feel like that makes him just a little bit less fun overall, unless you have Chase.
I mean, I said it earlier. Like his spike week potential, fine, but in a vacuum, I'm taking Amari over him every single time.
That's fair.
I mean, what are the odds he misses week 17 again? And he just dropped. I mean, he wide receiver 1 weeks with Watson playing like shit. Wide receiver 1 overall weeks with Flacco, and now they brought in Ken Dorsey, who had the Buffalo Bills passing offense playing really fucking well, and the Browns still don't have a first round pick. So like, what are they going to do? And they're shuffling cap around well to maneuver the Watson thing, but he's going to be the alpha one again. And you're worried about maybe Njoku, who doesn't really produce with Watson because he doesn't target tight ends very much. He just hasn't. So I know to me, Amari, I've got a shitload of Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I feel like I don't view them that much differently. I don't know. They're all kind of the same tier for me. So I'm gonna balance my exposures pretty closely between those three.
Yeah, Amari is just not as old as people think. Like, he's been around for a while, but he's, I think, going to be 30 this upcoming season. I don't even think he's actually 30 yet, but I think he's like turns 30 in July or something. So
exactly. He's younger than Keenan. He's younger than Cooper Kupp. He's younger than he's not that goddamn old. And he finally busted out of the home and away split narrative this year. That was phenomenal.
Robert Griffin the Turd. He's saying Rashee is a second rounder and Amari's a fourth. Yeah, Rashee, I don't know. I just don't. I know, Spags, you've talked about this, but yeah, I don't think there's any way they don't add someone of significance to kind of give him some competition. And seems like that's not a great price, but not going to not click him. But Yeah, I think if he's at a little bit of a discount, like I took him the other day, I think he fell 8 spots after ADP, and that felt really good. I think that's still, could be premature, for where he'll end up at some point in this offseason. But I'm okay taking him there right now. Like 22, 20, taking him ahead of Debo, I just don't think makes the most sense. You want Chiefs exposure. And again, another team you're paying that premium price tag, as we just saw him win a championship a couple weeks ago. And if there were maybe a few weeks of buffer in between, you maybe don't get that match quite that much to him.
Yeah, I think it's assuming he overtakes as the alpha target earner, which, I mean, we just saw they have no problem still working Kelsey in, and until he's dust, he will be the target alpha, and Rice is still the yak guy. And I mean, I think the most positive, the most positive spin I've seen so far is Matt Harmon of Reception Perception, who's awesome, said that like that year 1 to year 2 is reminding him a lot of Amon-Ra in that profile, with the caveat being, from Matt Harmon's perspective, the caveat being that Amon-Ra had to get much better against man coverage, and he did. He got much better at man coverage, and he also improved against zone coverage. You can't exactly say that Rice is going to do that, obviously. But from that perspective, it's like, okay, I've softened up a bit, but at the same time, like, Goff loves the slot receivers and he continually feeds him. Mahomes has learned to spread it around like Brady, so I don't like the targets are still dubious because they're going to add to that room. They're not going to just subtract. And the difference is that Amon-Ra was under 4th round to 6th round like 2 years in a row, and then last year went to the 1-2 turn. So the market didn't buy into Amon-Ra at 1-2 turn, 2nd round stuff until year 3. So it feels a little overzealous.
Yeah. So, you guys thinking receiver here? We could go to Kincaid or Kittle. Spags, what are you feeling in this?
I would go receiver because we did start so behind. I think Kirk's okay. Pickens, I really don't want to reach for at this point. I would just take any of the 2 out of the 3, I guess.
Let's start with Kirk, and then.
Yeah, I mean, he benefits if Ridley leaves. He benefits if Ridley stays. I think he's undervalued and solid. I don't love these receivers, but I guess I could live with it. I'd rather reach for like a guy like DeAndre.
I'm okay with that. I think he's going to get a really big offensive upgrade. I think there's some consolidation of targets. Maybe, well, he's still got a shot to be a 10 target guy on the upside. Probably not game to game, but like I think he's a good pick at that range.
And his metrics still looked good. And if they're going to invest in O-line, that just means Levis has more time to let Hopkins. I mean, and the other thing is like deep targets. Like deep targets are super valuable, and he was still getting those, but their offensive line kind of sucks, and Levis needed more time. I'm pretty bullish on both of those things improving somewhat. And, worst case scenario, they just have a backup that's more of like a Nick Mullins type, where it's like they're just confident he can feed guys the ball. But if Burks is meh and Chig sucks and Henry's gone, well, then that leaves Hopkins, who was very good and had good weeks, but could have had better floor. Well, shit, they have a coach that's not just going to ram the fucking ball with Henry 20 times a game. So I like it.
Hopkins still had almost a 29% target share last year. And his yards per route run was over 2. So, I mean, like, yeah, he's old, but yeah, like you said, offensive environment upgrade, and it didn't look like he was falling off from an advanced analytics perspective. So I'm pretty into it. I think I'm cautiously optimistic on the Titans.
I'm going to look up his EPA metrics to see if I have to say that he actually kind of sucked and stuff that I care about. Because I still think he's theoretically a fine play, but
yeah. Well, I mean, he's surrounded by fine to bad plays. So I mean, like again,
still a positive EPA, 0.02 by the skin of his teeth, but 0.02.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Also, I see a request to be serviced, and I will never not service the folk. So from the 12 hole, we have Jahmyr Gibbs, alpha running back. Devon Achane. There's never been a more alpha running back since Jamal Charles as far as breakaway plays. And we have a wide receiver room full of geriatric old men, Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp, Christian Kirk and DeAndre Vanuke Hopkins. What could go wrong? But I like this kind of build because then you just hammer. We know that this class is a really good wide receiver class. We don't know who the guys are. We just know it's a good class. We know last year all the rookies did really well, except for Mingo, and even he wasn't the worst pick. So just load up on young guys and let the olds teach them, much like the Dutch ladies letting the MILFs teach them the ways of making chocolate and making biscuits and making men happy. Am I right? You know?
Purple Yosh says this is a 6 start, so he might be saying that because, again, these men likely to catch diseases, illnesses due to their age, being a little bit more advanced. But
no, he's a Lions fan, and we have Jahmyr Gibbs.
But, he doesn't have the Lions avatar in here, and that makes me happy because I don't like seeing Purple Yoshi on Twitter be non-Purple Yoshi. I feel like
I know, it bothers me. Blue Yoshi can... Never mind. I'm not gonna say anything.
He switched it back. I saw him. He said not a Vikings fan, so he needs to just cover his bases.
You feel serviced, Nick? You feel fully serviced? You sick fucks.
In between picks, I wanna roll for a little bit. So I don't know. I haven't seen any best ball streamers. I added in some like sound effects. So like if we get sniped or like shit happening, I used them a little bit. I'm not very good with the timing yet. And we're at the 12 hole. So like it's hard to get sniped necessarily at this spot with two picks back to back. But I don't know. I'm going to try to incorporate that. I got like 20 different ones in there where at different times I can use them. So we'll see how it evolves as the off season rolls on.
Wow, so you're actually showing discipline. That's the hard part whenever I upload things to StreamYard is I blow my load right away with them, and I'm clicking them 100 times, and then I never click them again unless something really comes to mind.
Yeah. Look, you don't understand. I was bored as hell just rolling these in here. So we got a lot.
I like that, the ham horn. I remember that app.
Dude, my wife got me a nut button for Christmas. I can't use it at work, but I fucking love it, man. Just you hit those 2 RBs and you're just like, you fucking love it.
And it actually makes you nut, in fact, physiologically.
I won't say if it's used in the bedroom or not, but you know. What a fun range we're coming up on, fellers.
Tyler, you got more aged bodies to the roster.
Okay, let's talk through here. Dak doesn't really make sense for this build. We could go some dusty running backs, but I don't feel like it. I don't know. It's just weird. Like, because the next wide receiver is 101 ADP. So I almost feel like we should just take the value here.
I would take Troy Franklin. I think that'll make us a little bit younger at receiver.
I like it.
Let's start Troy Franklin. And then what are you guys thinking about this second pick here?
Well, if we're talking about building, I think Kyler Murray's still underpriced. QB1 weeks. We could stack him up with guys late.
We have the Herbert correlation, or like assuming Allen's going back.
Yeah, damn it, with the Greg Roman offense, I hate it personally, but
we already made the bet though, so we're making the bet now that Greg Roman
went to the bet that Keenan Allen's really good and beats other guys. We're not making the bet that
I think we could, but we could also still be making the bet that Keenan Allen is going to be good and that Greg Roman went the Mike McCarthy rehab and he did his analytics studies and he's like, all right, we're going to run it, but we're going to run it to set up the pass. It could happen.
That was a sad nut.
You're just playing the outcome. You're nutting. You're fine.
I'm playing the outcome that Keenan's valuable and needed part of my roster. I like avoiding the quarterback in those spots personally, but
what if Greg Roman unlocks Justin Herbert's running? Like he's always been a guy that could run a little bit more. I don't think he's going to be Lamar, but
I know. Well, and that's where I think. I mean, much like sacks, I think running is a quarterback stat, less of a an OC stat. Yeah, so Herbert likes to hang in there and make the throws. So, I mean, if that narrative gets any steam, I'll bet the under season-long rushing yards. If that
he got to like 5 per game this year, which isn't bad. If he got to 6, 7, like 6.5, I think it's moving close to the range.
You think they're gonna run Herbert more and not the running backs more?
But you do that out of the option. You do that out of the RPO. So like he sometimes just keeps it. Just keep it honest. I think you have to do that. You only have to do that X amount of times. You don't have to do it 10 times a game. But as to be like peak effectiveness, you kind of have to.
I was just checking. My friend David was doing a tweet at DSP4150 on Twitter. He was saying, all I'm saying is that Herbert is an awesome athlete and it'd be pretty fun to add some design QB rushes / options into his bag. We have a ton of evidence that a credible rushing threat at QB helps the overall run game and can be a good short yardage tool. And Herbert has a 9.7 RAS score, 6'6", 236 with a 4.68 40. So yeah, I definitely think it's been underutilized so far, but it could be fun, I guess.
It's an outcome to play, amidst all of them. And actually, last year he was a 0.15 EPA per rush, which QB rush is a little bit more efficient because they have more room to operate because of the spacing and all that. But still positive. Anything that's a positive we're going to take.
You know who I feel really good about QB rushing? Kyler Murray. So,
yeah.
I also like naked QBs. Like if you're going to take one, I mean, Kyler's shown it to make it happen. So, especially if we're talking like 3-week sprint, Kyler having a 30-point game, I like that a lot. I'm just saying, I can't get enough of him right now because right now it feels a lot like when Jalen Hurts was going in that like 5-6 turn a couple of years ago. It's just like he's mispriced. He's more likely to outscore the quarterbacks around him and the quarterbacks that gone ahead of him on a week in, week out basis, season-long basis.
I think in a vacuum, I definitely prefer Kyler Murray in all formats. But
and then if we're going to go through the Davis Maddock Gigabrain combinatorial ownership shit, how many times Kyler paired without Malik, Neighbors, or Marvin, or Trey McBride?
That's true.
We could have double tapped into their old James Conner. I wouldn't have advocated for that because I think they also are live to draft another wide receiver. I don't think they'd stop at just Marv if they're keeping Kyler.
You got Kyler anyway. No. You know what? Nobody wants him. They know that our pick was better.
Tasty. Kyler and a receiver, or do we double tap receiver?
Take Kyler. I mean, you just sucked off Kyler. That you can't not say Kyler.
Kyler and JMO stack with Jameer.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable.
You guys like JMO over Coleman or Lockett?
Definitely over Coleman. Lockett.
Yeah.
You could go back to Seattle.
Yeah. I mean, if we're making like the team bet stack shit, it's JMO. If I could draft a guy, draft probably like Rashid Shaheed right here over all of them.
I mean, the DFS theory of this, which I of course have been tweeting a lot, is just like capturing guys that aren't going to potentially be chalk. So we get JMO, we get Gibbs. We're then going against Laporta and St. Brown in a Week 17 final. I think that's logical. And again, I think it's a point that that's pretty good by buying for. And Neil's made it too lately about the DFS-ization of it now as this level of like best ball.
Oh, you got a sick value hound sound for that Kyler delight.
No, but I do have this.
Be advised, you should stop playing this game and go touch some grass, you little virgin.
That's aggressive.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's for all the little virgins in the chat telling us not to draft Kyler Murray, which is actually no one. I'm just needed an excuse to play.
You know what? David Kitchen started last year off and this year off saying to live a little, and guess what? That's what we're fucking doing today, baby. Troy Franklin before any other fuckers could take him. Kyler, because fuck you, sniped off. We don't care. Kyler's gonna outscore him. This is 2024 is about telling you to fuck you. My team is better. You know what? That's what we're doing, right? That's what I'm doing.
I think we got unique too with the Herbert Kyler thing, just because that's not a pairing that's going to happen naturally unless you took both at that other turn. But we got Troy Franklin then, who also probably did go a little bit later. So never mind. It's probably not that unique, but I like it. I like the way that worked out. That was a win.
It's unique with who we just stacked up with, is what I'm going to tell myself.
Yeah.
We honestly just swapped Kyler for Troy Franklin, is what we did, guys.
Yeah.
which is a bet I would make 10 out of 10 times, because Troy Franklin and his skinny legs that Pat demeaned. You know what? Skinny legs get home. That's all I'm going to say. Skinny legs, big heart, big dreams. Big
if you really squint your eyes and watch him, little Randy Mossy, and that's it. Like Randy Moss is a skinny guy, a little bit taller.
Skinny Randy Moss. Let's fucking go, baby. I like it.
I mean, I think he's a really good, like, best ball archetype receiver. Like, even if he's not amazing, he has the just speed to just rip off a few touchdowns in week 17. Like I'm super into him. Yeah.
He just earns targets at such a high rate too, where it's like you don't usually get a deep ball guy who earns targets that much. Like people have been talking up Taj Washington from USC and both like in the chat lately to me. And also I think maybe Harmon or somebody like talked him up recently in content. So people have been talking about him more. And it's like, that's a guy who's getting a target, 22% of the time. Franklin's getting one 35% of the time in an Oregon offense that was really good. So I think there's a bit of a difference between a guy who's like a deep ball, luck box merchant guy, and a guy who's like a meaningful part of an offense.
I mean, Marquise Brown was like, what, fucking 166 at the combine?
Yeah.
He made it work.
Tank Dell was 165. Yeah. I mean,
they're getting smaller every year. Yeah. Like Tank to me was the one where a little bit of concern over the size. Then he comes out and he looks like Tyreek Hill out there. It's just the spacing and the rules and all that should make it easier to be small if you have the speed and you can absorb hits and not die.
You know what I love about receivers? I keep getting bigger and they keep getting smaller.
Amen, brother.
Hell yeah.
Well, back in the day, like a wide receiver would like steal your girl and they'd be huge. They'd be like Andre Rison, like 6'4", 250. And now it's like, this guy's like a little accountant here. I can a shot.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy, fucking Troy Franklin, Brock Bowers. I'm gonna steal your girl, bitches.
Okay, so what are we feeling here? I kind of feel like this is now we're back into the running back range. I like Herbert and Sharps, Trey Benson, and then maybe pair him with one of these young guys or a Gabe Davis or something. What are you guys feeling here?
I wouldn't mind. I like Dante Mix a lot, and then a running back makes a lot of sense. Who do you like of those three? I like Herbert more, but what do you think, Spaggy?
I could live with Herbert. I honestly don't have a hard preference. Charbonnet, both have ambiguous backfield. Charbonnet could benefit a little bit more in ambiguous backfield for being younger. But I think they're a coin toss for me.
Yeah, I like Herbert or Sharps. So I mean,
we have divisional correlation with Herbert. If you want to be
Detroit, maybe luck box a week.
That's fair. Use it as a slight edge.
I've been leaning that way, and also like the coaching staff still made Herbert the lead over Rojo into like the final few weeks of the season still. So,
but they fired the offensive coordinator though, so that changing over is enough that the OC, like any OC change and head coach change, I agree.
Well, and then at that point, who's more likely to take over playing better? In the last 2 years, Herbert's been playing better. So,
but Roshan heading into year 2, and I do think a new coaching staff will. I mean, it obviously didn't work out this way in Houston, and I picked that way. I picked the opposite, but I think that was different because it was a free agent coming in. I think a coaching staff coming in, you have 2 incumbent backs. I think they're going to favor the younger back unless there's like a really big talent gap, just because then you could tie your laurels to that guy for a little bit longer. So I think the Roshan will be the favorite, but he's getting drafted like the favorite. So that's where Herbert comes in.
Yeah.
David is saying, what's with the shades? Well, we drafted Gibbs and Achane first 2 picks. So I went into my testosterone bit and pulled out the shades. So
I think it worked. But the thing is, like, you should just make that your bit. That's what I learned with the money hats. Then I, ran away from it. Now I'm just back in on it. You just make a thing that people identify and they go like, this is the guy who's always wearing shades. Like it's so dumb that shit like that works. But legitimately, like that's one of the best things you could do for your content career.
Yeah. I'm still trying to find my niche. I'm still early on. So we'll see what happens.
You can find a way to put the shades on. Something happens in the draft. You put the shades on. I guess that was what you did here. So it's not a bad look. There's a formula here. Feel free to steal it.
I was gonna caveat that with the lightweight speedbacks. Yeah, it's not. You're right. It's not Najee and Brian Robinson. So it's a little bit less high T. It's mid T.
It's young man T. It's not TRT replacement T. Is that what you're saying?
It's not overcompensating testosterone. It's just like I'm youthful and I got a lot going through my blood.
Yeah, this is careless tea, reckless tea,
twink tea,
spring tea into the wind. I was gonna say fertilizing the ocean.
We did draft a couple twinkish running backs, like out of all the
dude. I called the Bachelor this past weekend. His youngest brother came out, and he's like this like very young small, slight, clean-shaven guy. Just twink all weekend long. Like, he fucking loved it. We were at the strip club, and I'm like, "Go get me a drink, twink." And the guys are like, I'm like, "Oh, and this is Twink. Say hi to Twink." I'm gonna call him Twink at the wedding. I'm gonna feel bad a little bit because their parents are gonna look at me.
Is that cancelable? Because I think it's like Bear.
Maybe,
guys that go
maybe,
like,
I don't know.
like,
Instead of a love, well, okay. The backstory to this is that one of the dudes there, he's like a 6'4" paleontologist with like a huge beard and receding hairline. And so we jokingly call him a bear. And then the guys there are like, "What is that?" We're like, "You don't know about like bears, otters, twinks?" And so they explained it. I was like, "He's a bear, he's a twink, he's an otter." And everybody's like, and then the gay people in the club were like, "Yeah, that makes sense." So, oh yeah, and yeah, there you go. Bits live forever.
But no, but honestly though, I think it's a positive because I don't think you're using it in a disparaging way. It's like, oh, you're this archetype that's
it's an archetype.
revered.
Yeah.
So I don't think, I think if you're using it in a positive way, that's almost like that's a positive thing because 20 years ago, it's like, this guy. Like,
I loved him all weekend long. I loved my twink. I would never my twink.
It's okay. Best Ball with Bindles is a very inclusive space. EmoCowboy.
Well, you're wearing rainbow glasses right now.
Exactly. Yeah, hey, exactly.
You're reflecting yourself back on other people. You're like, hey,
oh god, that was artistic, Spags. When he looks down at her, giving him a splash play, she gets to see it back.
No, we don't want that to be the branding. That and Cum Kings rejected today. Branding meetings.
I can't wait to be in Vegas and someone be like, "What's up, Cum King?" Anyway. Hey, it's your favorite running back.
Okay, back to the draft.
I'd say Zach Moss, okay, could have an okay free agent outcome. Worst case, he ends up the handcuff to Jonathan Taylor.
I mean, I'm not a Blake Corum guy, as I know you are not, Spags, but this seems like a lot of ADP value. I don't know.
Is it at this point? He's moving down by the day. Well, no, it is still.
He's been going around here for like the last week and a half.
He's been available a lot here lately.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'd rather take a tight end. I like fading a shitty running back class until we get more. Like the guys later, it doesn't hurt as much, but we don't have a tight end right now. And second year tight end.
Yeah, I like Mayer.
I like Mayer a lot. Why don't we go Mayer?
Mayer. All right. Built like a mayor.
It's honestly the one thing Getsy did well in Chicago was use a tight end. Like out of all the things that he did, I think that's the one that you can point to. I mean, he fed DJ Moore decently too, so I think some hope there for Devontae Adams. But Mayer, I think he was so great in college, earned targets at such a high level. He's got to bounce back to some extent, even if he's not going to be a 35% target per out run.
I mean, I wish he was as cheap as McBride, but that's funny. I was doing Macho Man Randy Savage in Vegas last year. But Mayer's not as cheap as McBride, but like right now, it's like you're getting a second-year, young, supple, tight end on the come up,
and also because he just didn't spike at the end of the year, like because he got hurt and whatever, and they just kept him out. But I think if he had spiked, he'd be up another 30 picks in ADP right now.
Easily, yeah. See, that's the thing, Jeff T. How is your T? Everybody assumes Harb's gonna be like, "Let me go get my college guys." I don't know that he really ever did that in his previous stops. Like, he's not Chip Kelly. He's not just like collecting all of his college Pokemon.
His Infinity Stones.
It's also not that specific of an offense.
It's like, that was the guy in college. I mean, if Corum was on the Chargers, that's interesting. That's his coach. But I doubt Harbs is going to go into the draft without having a free agency running back he brought in to carry the load, trustworthy. Like, I think Josh Jacobs, like a guy like that, is very live for the Chargers. Like Harbs just
they can't afford. That's the issue. Is like they're so capped out.
Dude,
like,
who knows? I don't know. They
were in a better situation last year and only found a way to make $7 million acquisition, which is like I thought was a good point by somebody on social media. And I can't keep track of anybody with all the shit people says. But like point me with somebody with credibility who said that. And I think that's like they're in a worse situation where they're like $30 million worse on the cap. So like that's made me to a point where I don't think they get Saquon. I don't think they can get Jacobs. I think they're going to be priced out of even like 6.5 mil, 7 mil.
I don't disagree with you. And yeah, it's honestly probably a Zach Moss type where you get like a a 1 year with fluff type of shit. But
he would crush. He would crush in that style.
Well, so Joe Goodberry, the Bengals fan who like tracks their shit so well, he's been talking up like he's been noting that like Joe Mixon has like the Bengals have like a week of free agency to like assess whether or not to cut him before his cap goes up, and it doesn't make any sense to not keep him. So they get like free agency to see, hey, can we get a cheaper, better version of Mixon and cut him, or are we getting a value on keeping him relative to the running back market? And like they've got like that first week to evaluate that. And he said guys like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, like Zach Moss, like the cheaper tier 2, tier 3 guys make more sense to bring in to compete with Chase Brown. And that would also make sense with a cap strap team like the Chargers, but they could also make moves. Like I wouldn't assume Mike Williams stays on because like they're $22 million under the cap.
He's one of the best savings I think they can do.
Yeah, I think he's gonna this is a really weird range.
Gus free agent, not going back to Gainwell is too cheap for this range. I think we've generally agreed, right?
Yeah, but I hate Gainwell. So.
But he might be a starter going at this range.
He wasn't the starter last year. Why would they keep him the starter?
Because there's no Swift. Potentially, or very likely.
So they go get a Zach Moss.
I can't believe you're taking Gus Edwards over Gain. That's insane.
Over Gainwell?
Yeah, Gainwell he's right now the number 2 back in the depth chart, assuming Swift comes back.
But that wasn't useful last year. His spike week was like 11 points in half PPR.
Oh, I think that was it's your account. Again, I'm glad it's your account.
Okay,
dude,
wait.
We have a Jahmyr Gibbs.
We have 10 seconds. Come on. Who do
I know Tyler's drafted. Apparently it's not a team effort anymore, so
oh my god. Jesus Christ.
Well, we don't want Gainwell and Gus. That was stupid.
And you know what? No, now we're done at running back. You get your precious look, you've upset my dog. This fucking pick.
Good.
You guys to each other.
Take that, dog.
Dude, Jesus fucking Christ. I like Trey Palmer a lot because Mike Evans is probably gone, and he looked interesting. And there's talk now that Chris Godwin's definitely heading back to like the slot role. So I think Palmer's a big value, big target there. Would have preferred another tight end personally, but you got to keep the host happy.
Gus Edwards. I mean, no, that's
no.
I think Gus Edwards is a better pick.
I was for tight end there, to be completely honest, but I just wanted us to make sure we got a pick in.
I mean, I have people queued up. Like worst case scenario, we're like done with wide receiver with Palmer. But I also don't think Gus is Purple Yosh notes this. Like Justice Hill is Keaton Mitchell, ACL.
No, but there was a report today that he's not like the Ravens are not going to bring him back. Like
he's coming back. Well, I mean, that's fine because I think he fits in. Like, dude, Gus on the Chargers, Gus on the Bengals.
I agree. You can luck box a Jamal Williams spot. I just don't think that's as likely of an outcome as Gainwell retaining a job for a team that's shown a willingness to keep giving him the ball, other than what Swift had a hot hand. I just think Gainwell's the better pick for like what the opportunity is right now. I agree that Gus could luck box a spot. Dylan can too. Like, I
mean, so I'm playing like the upside game though, not like the definitely has a spot game. Like when you have a start like Achane and Gibbs, I mean, what are the odds Kenny outscores either one of them on a week-to-week basis? Pretty low. And then what are the odds
29-year-old free agent Gus Edwards does?
He had a 3-touchdown game this year.
Yeah, on the Ravens, who don't want him back. And they were like, we've seen enough of you, man.
Yeah, but that was with a team with a rushing quarterback. So, and despite his injuries, he's maintained a stupidly efficient yards per carry. And and Kenny was bad last year. Like he was bad.
He wasn't really worse than Swift. He just got hurt, lost the job. Swift earned it. And then he came back in, and like Swift was okay. Like
they made Swift like the work, like more than 50% of the workload starting like week 3, and that never really
But
changed.
The early part was they were going to go with Gainwell. That's when Gainwell got banged up, and then Rashad Penny never got close, no matter what. But
Kenny also never got better than Swift to like carry the load.
Well, because Swift had the thing is Swift had the front runner spot from having the outlier game. So then like you can't unseat a guy when the guy has done enough. Then at the end of the year, Swift was kind of meh, but the whole team was meh. So they got Gainwell back in again because they like Gainwell enough. He's going to get a shot to win this job. If Swift doesn't come back, and even if Swift does come back, he's going to get a shot.
Guys, what if we just handcuffed ourselves with Gus Edwards and Kenneth Gainwell on the Eagles?
Let's fucking go. I mean, that also makes sense. I think the Eagles have shown us they don't trust Kenny with a full workload. He's not built for like a full workload, and they're gonna bring in another guy if they don't bring back Swift, and they still might bring in another guy.
So then Gainwell maybe is a Jalen Warren to that guy's Najee.
Jalen Warren was better.
Yeah, so Gainwell's still not bad. I'm not like you're making me defend Gainwell a lot more, but it's a really good opportunity. It's more just about the depth chart and what's available right now, which is that Swift's a free agent. He's the number one guy in the depth chart, really.
Okay, I'm gonna push for Noah Fant here. Or
I like Noah Fant.
Or I mean, we could double tap.
I'm very comfortable double.
Yeah, both are free agents. Both could have nice outcomes. I'm gonna go with it.
Yummy. I would not be surprised if a guy like Henry. I mean, Henry's that's a bad price.
I think both of them were bad price. I think it's just Fant had a terrible situation. Like, I don't know.
Bye.
I'm gonna do the bye for both of those guys. Like, I think I've anytime Noah Fant or Hunter Henry show up, I have to speak my truth, which is you should be buying those guys in best ball, in dynasty, and redraft, and everything. They're going to be going too late at this time of year. They're free agents, so they're going to get some money, and the teams are going to be prioritized to use them and not use them in a 3 tight end rotation like Pete Carroll in Seattle. So
this team has so many guys on this roster I fucking hate taking.
And Fant, by the way, the second contract thing for him, plus the athletic profile, like he is really a guy that could have a resurgence here. Henry, I think it's just could possibly have a competent offense again. And we saw this year, if he's in a competent offense, he's going to do okay. So both guys have
yeah, and he's also like the one place he is good is the red zone, and he has shown that. So I mean, like a team like, and he's also not a bad blocker. Which is why they played him over Gesicki so much in New England. So, I mean, if a guy like Schultz doesn't go back to Houston and they spend big on D-line, O-line, and they go get a, $4 mil, $5 mil Hunter Henry to play along Brevin, like shit like that makes sense.
Yeah. Houston could really be a different team because I think they are very live to get a Mike Evans, and that would upset everything, but the team would look great.
Alpha for you. I think it was about 4 weeks ago. My friends were at the Hello Kitty night for the Rockets, and Mike Evans was there hanging out. So
it would be a great fit for him. It would kill Nico's ADP, or at least drive it down 2 rounds. I would think maybe a round and a half.
Well, people would be like, "Oh my God, the Peyton Manning, Wes Welker, Eric Decker, Demarius Thomas." There we go. Found it. ADP is not great, but like weekly ceiling, that it could be a mega stupid offense. Yeah, I agree. I think Mike Evans is live for Mike Evans ADP doesn't make any sense to me because he's very live to go pick like an awesome team and just get fed.
Yeah, I mean his ADP, I think honestly, even he went back to Tampa Bay and they ran that back is probably a little bit cheap. I don't know. He's getting old too, but we've been very much advocating for the old guys today. But I think that he's got a lot of good outs, and Houston would be a very fun out, even if it does completely ruin that Nico ADP.
I mean, they could a team like the Jags could let Ridley walk and have a guy like Evans be like the big-bodied ball guy. Because like
do they have enough money to afford him though? I just know Houston has like so much like they have 70.
I know, but Houston smells like from what D'Amico Ryan's been talking about, like the trenches. So I can see them overpaying a lot for like trench guys to go into the free. All right, what are we doing?
What do we have on the board?
Let's see. I mean, I don't.
He's a pass. Methinks.
Are there any rookie wide receivers you guys like here late?
Johnny Wilson's pretty good analytically, but it's hard to imagine him like being a good shot to get a role.
Thrash has a cool name.
Yeah, Thrash. I think his dad was in the league. James Thrash.
Do we want to go
with Thrash personally?
Do we feel good with 6 RBs with those first 2 in the first 2 rounds?
Yeah, I don't think we need to go to 7.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think we take a rookie wide receiver dart. So Spags, give us your rookie lean. You were saying Thrash over Wilson?
No, I'd say Wilson over Thrash.
Wilson over Thrash. Come on, Bendels. Any Dynasty Virgin kickback on that?
No, I mean for Dynasty, the only thing for him is that he might switch to tight end because he's 6'6", 240 or whatever. So
he's a grown ass man. God damn.
Very large.
Talk about testosterone.
Right. Allow me to service the folks as we wrap up. Slayton's going to be on a roster, Bubba. Newsflash: there's not enough wide receivers. He played very well. He's got good skill set, and he's going to end up on a team minimum. Darnell Mooney is a free agent, and guys like fucking Demarcus Robinson had usable weeks and found themselves roles on teams. So don't doubt wide receiver threes with good ball skills and good speed. That's all I'll say on that. So our full team ended up being Justin, please God, let him run. Herbert, Kyler, the God, you can't keep me from taking him at ADP or after. Kyler Murray. Running back, we got the young, supple Jahmyr Gibbs and Devon Achane with a please don't cuck us, bro. Khalil Herbert. Zach Moss, go find an awesome landing spot. Gus Bus, Spags hates you. Tyler believes, don't fuck me, bro. Kenny the God, underpriced Gainwell, definitely going to be the RB2, please. A geriatric room teaching the young bucks, led by Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp, Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins, Troy. Can't stop us from taking you wherever. Franklin, please go to the Chiefs. Jameson Williams, always disappointing. Just give it to me once. Dontavian, the next Devontae Adams Wicks. Darius Slayton. Johnny, could be anything. Could be a boat. Wilson. And then our tight end room of young, supple Michael Mayer, year 2 breakout. Hunter, the mentor Henry. And Noah, second contract Fant.
It's beautiful.
I like it. I think it was a good team. The one thing you could point to, a big flaw, Gus Edwards, where's it going to go? 29 years old. The Baltimore doesn't want him. They're saying, get out of here. We don't want you.
Get out of here.
Hey, you know what? One usable 2+ touchdown week in our flex, and boom.
What if it's in the UFL? I don't think that's
You know what, Spags? I would have bet you so bad that Gus Edwards outscores Kenny Gainwell on a points per game basis, and don't look at my shame. That's a lot of big boards. And
Neil had done the other day. He had done 60 or something. I'm like, how are you guys? You guys are jamming the big boards. I'm just like spacing them out. I'm like doing them on. I'm having a nice wine, basically doing them, and you guys are just jamming them. I know it might. Get it, but
you're not doing them as like a hobby. I'm always bored, and I need something to fill my time with. And you do them as like a stream, so of course you need to like. Easily, you need to have them in the bag. Yeah,
it's all about to keep the sanity of doing them for. I don't know what the number will be of drafts that I'm going to get to doing them every day. Like, is it going to be 400? I don't know what. Like, it can't be 400. There's not that many days in a year.
You know what was really weird was hearing that like Pat and Davis have only done like 27 or 37, something like that. I'm like, okay.
Well, I think Pete's doing his like actual first one on. I know he's doing his first one on stream for sure, but I think it's like his actual first one too.
I think his actual first one. Yeah, he's refused to draft yet. He's draft sickoing, shaming us. Rich.
He gave a link in the email to like me and the Pound. I saw that. Like, so like I think it's a Bindles too. Like, gave us all links for everybody who's doing streams. So like, I get wanting to protect the sanity of taking some time off, but I think there's also value in just showing up and doing it and getting your head where you need to go so that you're not coming in cold, even if 4 weeks of coming in cold aren't going to kill you.
Yeah, I never thought Pete would be a draft. He wasn't draft shaming us, but I never thought Pete would be the one to take time off. But I respect it. I respect it.
Yeah, look, he's definitely tries to balance all this stuff very well. I know that my value is just you show up, you roll up your sleeves, you do it. I'd say that for most content people. Like if you're trying to go in the upswing, like the fantasy flock, I think for whatever things I made fun of in the past, guy was showing up at fucking midnight doing 4-hour streams and whatever pretty much every night. Like those things matter if you're trying to build an audience. So I would say for people out there, if you're on Pete's level, yeah, sure. You put your feet up on your Louis Vuitton couch and you go, yes, I don't need to do drafts for a few weeks. I could recalibrate, read a few books, start a book club even. The Pewter Rovers said, book. I'm Oprah now. I can have a book club.
Get a Dexter
For everybody else out there.
I mean, to be fair, y'all drafted way more playoff teams than I did. I don't do the playoff drafts. So like,
my heart was on playoffs, which I think should.
They look fun. They look fucking miserable. The couple I did, I was like, this sucks. So I've been itching for months to do this. That's why I'm blasting off. I would have rather blasted off on a little board, but those fuckers capped me at 20. So
yeah, the optimism of a new year, I think, is more fun than the playoffs, where it's like, oh, cool. How is somebody going to ruin this thing that I think I'm building that's pretty clever? Or what chalk angle am I going to miss that's going to have a 50-way tie in the tournament this year? And, I think that's the pain of the playoffs. But yeah, for drafting for a new year, I think it's fun. And that's also how you learn about players, I think, in a helpful way, is like how people are pricing them, how the markets view them. Are they going up and down? I think it's fun to be able to lock in this early.
Yeah.
Spags and Tyler, why don't you give any plugs? Why don't you, give us anything? Give us anything that you're thinking.
Yeah, you got good live viewership. Like Bindles, I think this is I've seen your views are getting a little algorithmic boost. So you put those sunglasses on every day and do it. So my plug is for Bindles' channel. Make sure you subscribe down below. Bindles doing the work here with the morning alpha. Usually today it's an afternoon alpha, but I, of course, will be on Splash Play, hopefully with these guys supporting me as they have been. But glad to do a stream with you guys today. I feel like it's nice to see you both and have you both be able to say things and talk me into bad picks as opposed to watching mine. So that's...
You know what? Oh, actually, this reminds me. The first time you brought me on the Splash Play, Spags, you poo-pooed my Puka Nakua to stack with Stafford thing, and I forgot to gotcha.
Was it? But it was a Stafford part, right? It wasn't the Puka part. I liked Puka. It was the Stafford part. I was very out on Stafford.
Bring up the tape. Someone pull it.
Ended up not being a bad combo because I think we took Dimes on the team and he died. So
he did die. He did die. That's
retroactively go me.
Oh, Tyler, I don't remember such things. So many streams I put out into the universe. I can't keep track of that.
Wow, I'm just another pretty face and a nice ass to Spags. That's
that day also wasn't that the day I did was that the marathon stream day?
Yeah, that was the last.
I remember something on that one. I think maybe cut me some slack.
It was just 8 hours.
Yeah, no, that was, and it was DraftKings, so it was a fucking lawless wasteland.
That was, oh god, fucking DraftKings. DraftKings not backing up the Brinks truck. They want to win best ball, and yet they're not giving anybody money to promote best ball. It's sad.
Yeah, fuck them. As far as my plugs go, I have an OnlyFans. They won't verify me. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet, but keep it in the back of your heads when I do figure out for hot best ball summer what I'm gonna do. At EmoCowboy. That is real. Otherwise, I come on here every once in a while. I give some stupid fucking takes from your average Joe that news hounds like a motherfucker. My health alpha is unmatched. I'm married to a doctor. Come at me, real doctors. No football.
Like, do you ask her questions and go like, so this guy's got an ACL injury?
Here's the thing. I don't need to because I follow too many goddamn doctors that are really good at their job. But like drafting teams with her when she had work leagues with her coworkers, it was so funny because you just see one year she was drafting, there was a dude coming off a bad multi-ligament injury before. That was hey, multi-ligament injury is really bad. This dude fell 7 rounds. No one was touching him. And I'm over here I'm helping her draft. I'm we got to take him. Look at that ADP value. She's like, no, we're not taking him. I'm why not? She's like, he's not going to bounce back. We all know that. We are doctors. He's not going to bounce back. And I was like, we got to take him. He's worth the risk. He never bounced back. They were right. And that was my turning point of health alpha is better than ADP alpha.
Also, what's her YouTube channel? What is she doing?
No Nick Chubb. No Nick Chubb 2024 unless he's free, and then fuck it.
No Big Chubb 2024.
Don't say that. He's big. He's just useless, like me.
So thank you guys so much for hopping on. I really appreciate you guys. On a fun Friday. I will do the plugging for Spags if he's not going to do it. I have the links for probably his sports betting app and obviously Splash Play Pod. If you're in here, you probably already know him, but if you don't, go give him a follow and follow him. 3 days a week. I'll be streaming, trying to be as consistent as possible. Shout out also to Spags for the inspiration. I'm like, if Spags can do it 5 days a week, I can definitely do it 3 days a week. Like I got to put in the work and build up the channel. We're up to 173 subscribers. So
Nice.
Algo's liking me a little bit more every day. So that's a fun time. We have some really good guests coming on. I talked to Sacrilegious. He'll be coming on in the next couple weeks. I talked to Dynasty IM. If you've seen on Twitter, he's a big, he worked for the 33rd team. Really good Dynasty mind. He'll be coming on. Pete said he'll come on later in the off season. So we got some great guests, and we will keep the content flowing. So be sure to like, subscribe, and have a great weekend, everyone.